Welcome back. In today's video, we're diving into the recent list of the most dangerous insects in the world for 2025, just released by scientists. These tiny creatures might seem harmless at first, but don't be fooled. The smallest creatures can hold the deadliest secrets. Never underestimate a dangerous insect. From venomous bites to life-threatening diseases, these insects are nothing to mess with. Stick around, because you won't believe how deadly these little critters can be. The housefly's deadly secret. You think a housefly is just an annoying little pest? Think again. This tiny insect is far more dangerous than it looks. Houseflies carry around 350 types of bacteria and can spread at least 65 diseases, including tuberculosis and even leprosy. That means every time one lands on your food, it might be delivering a microscopic nightmare. But if you thought regular houseflies were bad, meet Goramidas heros, the world's largest fly. This monster can grow up to 7 centimeters long. Imagine something that big buzzing around your home. Found in Bolivia, Paraguay, and Brazil, this massive fly could make you think twice before leaving food out in the open. The tarantula hawk's brutal attack. This insect's name alone is enough to send chills down your spine. The tarantula hawk. And yes, it's exactly as terrifying as it sounds. This wasp is a master assassin of tarantulas, using its powerful sting to paralyze them completely. But the horror doesn't stop there. The paralyzed spider is then dragged back to the wasp's nest, where the wasp's larvae slowly eat it alive. If that wasn't scary enough, the sting of a tarantula hawk is considered one of the most painful insect stings in the world. Insect researcher Justin Schmidt, who experienced it himself, described it as pure, excruciating agony that leaves you unable to do anything but scream. If you ever see one of these wasps, your best bet, walk the other way, fast. The cute but deadly pus caterpillar. At first glance, you might think this fluffy little creature is harmless, maybe even cute. But don't be fooled. The pus caterpillar, found in Mexico and the eastern US, is one of the most venomous caterpillars in the world. Beneath its soft, fur-like hairs hide deadly spines that inject venom into anyone who touches them. The result? Indescribable pain that spreads through your entire body. If stung, you'll need to act fast, removing the tiny hairs stuck in your skin and cleaning the wound immediately. So if you ever see one of these fuzzy creatures, resist the urge to touch it. This is one cuddle you definitely don't want. The killer wasp you don't want to mess with. You've seen wasps buzzing around your garden, maybe even shooed one away. But what if I told you there's a wasp so aggressive that getting too close to its nest could send an army of stingers after you? Meet the yellow jacket, a wasp that doesn't just sting once. Unlike bees, these furious little creatures keep their stingers, meaning they can attack over and over again. And if you accidentally disturb their underground nest, they'll release a call to arms, summoning hundreds of their kind to swarm you. In rare cases, their sting can even be deadly. So next time you see a yellow jacket, step back, fast. The beetles that can bite, burn, and blind you. Most beetles are harmless, but some, they're straight out of a nightmare. Take the Titan beetle, one of the biggest insects on Earth, growing up to 17 centimeters long. Their jaws are so strong they can snap a pencil in half. Imagine what that could do to your fingers. Then there's the Hercules beetle, a muscular tank of an insect that can lift 850 times its own weight. That's like a human carrying 68,000 kilograms. But the real dangers, the blister beetle and the rove beetle. One touch from a blister beetle and your skin could erupt in painful blisters. The rove beetle is even worse. Its toxin can cause severe burns, fever, and in extreme cases, even blindness. Harmless looking? Maybe. But underestimate these beetles, and you'll regret it. The spider that rots your flesh. At first glance, the brown recluse spider looks just like any other harmless brown spider. But if you know what to look for, there's one eerie difference. It has 6 eyes instead of the usual 8. And trust me, you don't want to cross paths with this one. Its venom is so powerful that a single bite can turn your skin into a rotting wound, leaving deep black sores that can take weeks to heal. Found in dark, hidden places across the southern and central US, these spiders love hiding under rocks, leaves, and sometimes even inside your shoes. One wrong step, and you could end up with a bite that eats away at your flesh. Now that's a reason to check your shoes before slipping them on. Hornets that never stop stinging. Most bees sting once and call it a day. But not these hornets. The bold-faced hornet is built for maximum damage, and if you cross its path, it won't hesitate to sting you over and over again. And trust me, you don't want that. These aggressive insects don't just defend themselves, they go on the attack. What makes them even scarier? They don't just sting, they chew through bees like it's their favorite snack. And their venom? It's no joke. The pain can last a full 24 hours, and if they get you near the face or eyes, things can get really dangerous. Some victims struggle to breathe or swallow, and in the worst cases, they end up in the hospital with severe allergic reactions. So if you see one of these hornets, the best thing you can do? Get as far away as possible. The blood-sucking nightmare. If you think the name kissing bug sounds cute, think again. These insects don't kiss, they bite. And not just anywhere, they go straight for your face, targeting your mouth and eyes like tiny vampires. Found in Central and South America, parts of Mexico, and even some areas of the US, these creepy crawlers don't just bite once. They can bite up to 15 times in one night. And here's the worst part. Their bite isn't just painful, it can carry a deadly disease called Chagas disease. At first, the symptoms seem like a bad flu, fever, vomiting, and swelling. But if untreated for a few months, the disease becomes incurable. In South America, this disease has already caused countless tragedies. So if you ever spot one of these bugs, don't take any chances. Stay far, far away. Poisonous moth you should avoid. Most moths are harmless, but this one? It's a nightmare in disguise. The brown tail moth might look like any other insect, but it carries a hidden danger. Thousands of tiny, poisonous hairs. Accidentally introduced from Europe in 1897, it has now invaded parts of the United States, mainly along the coast of Massachusetts and Maine. The moth itself isn't much of a threat, but when it's in its larval stage, that's when the real trouble begins. Its poisonous hairs can cause severe rashes, known as dermatitis, in sensitive people. If you ever come across one, don't touch it, unless you want to deal with an itchy, painful reminder of your mistake. The ancient giant that still roams today. If you think insects are tiny, think again. The giant tree weta is one of the biggest insects on Earth, weighing up to 70 grams. Native to New Zealand, this massive bug is so unique that its name, given by the Maori people, means God of Ugly Things. And it gets weirder. This insect has been around for more than 190 million years, making it older than some dinosaurs. As if that wasn't strange enough, it has ears on its knees. Yes, you heard that right, ears on its knees. While it doesn't have a sting, it does have strong jaws that can give you a painful bite. So if you ever meet one, don't let its ancient status fool you. It's still very much alive and kicking. The fly that grows under your skin. Some nightmares are real, and the botfly is proof of that. This small fly might not look scary, but what it does is straight out of a horror movie. It's a parasitic insect that needs a living host to survive, and that includes humans. Here's how it works. The botfly lays its eggs on a blood-feeding insect like a mosquito. When the mosquito bites someone, the eggs transfer to the person's skin. Then, thanks to body heat, they hatch, burrowing under the skin and growing inside. The host usually survives, but the risk of infection is real, and if untreated, it can be deadly. Want to remove one? You'll need a pair of pliers and a strong stomach. This is one parasite you don't want to mess with. The giant honeybee's terrifying sting. You think normal bees are scary? Wait until you hear about the giant honeybee. This monster of a bee isn't buzzing around your backyard. It lives deep in the forests of South and Southeast Asia, especially in Nepal's Terai region. And when I say giant, I mean it. These bees grow up to an inch long, making them the largest honeybee species in the world. Their nests aren't just anywhere. They build them high up in the trees, far from the reach of predators. But here's where it gets terrifying. Their sting is no joke. A single sting can cause severe allergies, abdominal pain, chest discomfort, and even organ damage. In Sri Lanka, a 70-year-old man found himself under attack by 200 of them. If that sounds like a nightmare, that's because it is. Unlike the friendly bees that beekeepers manage, giant honeybees are aggressive. You do not want to mess with them. The wasp with a venom you can taste. Paper wasps may look like ordinary insects, but their sting? It's something you can actually taste. These reddish-brown striped wasps build inverted paper-like nests, earning them the name paper wasps. But some people also call them umbrella wasps because of the way their nests hang. Now here's where it gets weird. Getting stung by a paper wasp isn't just painful, it has a bitter aftertaste. Yes, you heard that right. Their venom contains toxins that can cause allergic reactions, swelling, and in rare cases, even death. Symptoms can include dizziness, vomiting, and rapid heartbeat. But don't panic just yet. They won't sting unless they feel threatened. So, if you see one, just take a step back and give them space. The ant that calls for backup. Ants are tiny, hard-working creatures, but the red harvester ant takes things to another level. Found in the southwestern United States, these ants are obsessed with collecting and storing seeds, hence the name harvester. Their sharp mandibles crush seeds with ease, ensuring that their colonies never run out of food. But here's where things get intense. They don't just gather food, they defend it viciously. Some species of red harvester ants have barbed spines that pierce the skin, and they can sting multiple times. That's bad enough, but their venom? It contains pheromones, meaning one sting can summon an entire army of ants to attack. Their venom spreads through the lymphatic system, causing severe pain and swelling. So, if you ever see a red harvester ant hill, do yourself a favor, stay far away. Because if even one ant decides you're a threat, you might find yourself surrounded in seconds. The warrior wasp, nature's tiny monster. If you think wasps are scary, you haven't met the warrior wasp. This insect isn't just aggressive, it's naturally wired for battle. Unlike most insects that sting only when provoked, the warrior wasp doesn't need a reason to attack. And when it does, the pain is so intense that insect researcher Justin Schmidt described it as feeling like you're chained in the current of an active volcano. But before it even stings, this wasp has a terrifying way of warning its enemies. They drum their wings up and down in unison, creating a sound that intimidates predators. That's why they're nicknamed drumming wasps. If the sound doesn't scare you off, their sting will, because once they strike, the pain is almost unimaginable. The cow-killer wasp, more than just a name. The velvet ant has a name that should terrify anyone, cow-killer. But don't worry, no cows have actually died from its sting. The name comes from the unbearable pain it delivers. Those unlucky enough to experience it say it's one of the most painful stings in the insect world. And here's the twist. This so-called ant isn't an ant at all. It's actually a wasp. The reason people mistake it for an ant is that the females don't have wings. But that's not the most disturbing fact. Instead of building her own nest, the female velvet ant invades another insect's nest, lays her eggs there, and when they hatch, the larvae eat the host's pupae alive. As if that wasn't scary enough, this wasp also has multiple defense mechanisms: a rock-hard exoskeleton, a foul chemical defense, warning sounds, and of course, its venom. The army of jaws, driver ants. When you see a massive swarm of driver ants, it's already too late to run. Found in Africa and parts of Asia, these ants don't just travel in colonies, they march in armies of up to 20 million. Their main prey? Earthworms. But if an animal or even a human stands in their way, they'll attack without hesitation. Most people think only fire ants bite, but that's not true. Driver ants have razor-sharp jaws, and once they latch on, getting them off is a nightmare. Their grip is so strong that some African tribes have even used them as makeshift stitches by forcing the ants to bite wounds shut. If you ever encounter them, your best bet is to stay far, far away. The bullet ant, a living gunshot. Getting stung by an insect is never fun, but the bullet ant takes pain to another level. The name isn't just for show, its sting is said to feel exactly like being shot. In Venezuela, it's even called the 24-hour ant, because the pain lasts an entire day. Some people don't survive that long. Justin Schmidt, an insect researcher who has experienced countless stings, ranked the bullet ant at the very top of his pain index. He described the pain as pure, intense, and exceptional. If that's coming from a guy who's been stung by nearly everything, you know this insect is no joke. The executioner wasp, the true king of pain. Justin Schmidt may have called the bullet ant the most painful sting in the world, but not everyone agrees. YouTuber and wildlife expert Coyote Peterson tested this claim and found something even worse. The executioner wasp. Coyote had already been stung by a bullet ant, but when he got stung by the executioner wasp, he immediately screamed in agony. Within seconds, his arm started burning, throbbing, and swelling. The venom was eating away at his skin, causing premature cell death. Days later, he still had a hole in his arm where the sting had been. Based on this nightmare, he declared the executioner wasp the king of the stings. The killer bee, death in swarms. They call it the killer bee for a reason. The Africanized honeybee, originally bred in Brazil, has since spread across Central and South America, leaving a trail of terror. These bees don't just sting once, they attack in massive swarms, chasing people for up to 400 yards. In October 2010, a 73-year-old man in Texas was clearing bushes when he accidentally disturbed a hive. Hundreds of bees swarmed him. He didn't stand a chance. With more than 1,000 deaths linked to killer bees, one thing is clear. This is one insect you never want to provoke. Giant centipede, a nightmare on legs. You think regular centipedes are creepy? Wait until you see the giant centipede. These monstrous creatures lurk in the tropical regions of South America, growing up to 12 inches, 30 centimeters long. That's right, about the size of a ruler. And believe it or not, some people actually keep them as pets. One Chinese man even bought one, as if living with a venomous, aggressive predator was a good idea. These centipedes are ruthless hunters, taking down spiders, scorpions, and even small rodents. If they face a bigger threat, they inject venom that makes their prey regret ever crossing paths with them. While human bites are rare, if you do get bitten, expect extreme pain, fever, nausea, and even heart problems. And if you're a farmer or gardener, these creatures are your worst nightmare. The most dangerous spider on Earth. If you hate spiders, brace yourself. This one is in a league of its own. The Australian funnel web spider isn't just scary looking, it's considered the most deadly spider in the world. Found in eastern Australia, this nightmare has over 40 subspecies, but some of them carry venom so powerful that it can shut down your body in minutes. Imagine cramping muscles, a pounding heart, and sheer panic setting in. Yeah, not a great way to spend your vacation. 13 people lost their lives before scientists developed an antidote in 1981. Since then, there have been no deaths. That doesn't mean a bite won't ruin your day. So if you ever find yourself wandering in the humid forests of Australia, keep an eye out, because this spider doesn't need an invitation to ruin your trip. The assassin caterpillar, a tiny killer. A caterpillar? Dangerous? Oh, you have no idea. The assassin caterpillar found in the rainforests of southern Brazil holds the Guinness World Record as the most poisonous caterpillar on the planet. And here's the terrifying part. You might not even see it. This tiny killer blends perfectly with tree bark, making it almost invisible. But if you accidentally touch one, you're in big trouble. Their venom destroys your red blood cells, leading to internal bleeding. And they don't just hang out alone. If you spot one, there are probably more nearby. Some insects are annoying, but this one, it's deadly. The killer hornet invasion. Something terrifying is taking over, and it's not a sci-fi movie, it's real. The Asian giant hornet, one of the most fearsome insects in the world, has been spreading fast in recent years. These monstrous hornets, originally from China, Japan, and India, started appearing in the US around 2020, and that's a huge problem. Why? First, they're massive, almost 3 inches, 7 centimeters long. But what's worse is their destructive power. A single group of these hornets can wipe out hundreds of bees in no time. That's bad news because bees are crucial for pollinating our food crops. Beekeepers are panicking, and for a good reason. And it's not just bees that should be afraid. Humans are at risk too. Their sting isn't just painful, it's venomous. In Japan alone, these hornets are responsible for about 50 deaths every year. If their numbers keep growing, who knows what could happen next. Fire ants. Tiny but deadly. You think regular ants are annoying? Meet fire ants. Tiny but absolutely ruthless. These little creatures don't just bite, they inject venom. While normal ants only release acid into a wound, fire ants take it to another level. Their sting is so strong it can kill small animals, and for humans, it feels like your skin is on fire, hence the name. For most people, the sting is just extremely painful, but in about 5% of cases, it triggers a severe allergic reaction that can lead to suffocation. That's not something you want to mess with. And they're not just a danger to people. Fire ants wreak havoc on nature reserves and farmland. In the US alone, more than $5 billion is spent every year trying to control them. No wonder they're one of the most feared insects out there. The world's deadliest killer. You might expect the most dangerous insect to be something huge and terrifying, but the deadliest of them all? It's the tiny mosquito. Mosquitoes aren't just annoying, they're silent killers. They survive by feeding on blood, using the proteins to produce eggs. But with every bite, they inject saliva into your skin, leaving behind an itchy rash, and that's the least of your worries. These little pests are responsible for more than 700,000 deaths every year. They spread deadly diseases like malaria, Zika virus, and West Nile virus. Africa, South America, and Asia suffer the most from their deadly bites. So the next time you hear that annoying buzzing in your ear, remember, mosquitoes are way more dangerous than they seem. And that's a wrap on the most dangerous insects in the world for 2025. Who knew such tiny creatures could cause so much trouble, right? If you found this list surprising, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more jaw-dropping content, and share this video with your friends to keep them on their toes.